Today I'm going to be reading Junie Jones and Her Big Fat Mouth, chapters 7 and 8. So let's get started. Chapter 7, Jobs and Jobs. When I got off the bus, I zoomed to room 9. That's because I wanted job day to start very quick. Only first we had to take attendance, and then we had to say a pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic of which it stands. Except I don't know what that dumb story is even talking about. Then finally Mrs. clapped her loud hands together, and guess what? Job day started. That's what. Boys and girls, you all look wonderful in your outfits, Mrs. said. I can't wait to learn what all of you want to be when you grow up. Who would like to go first? I would! I yelled out. Only my bestest friend Lucille raised her hand very polite, and she got to go first. Lucille looked the most beautiful I've ever seen her. She was wearing a new dress that her Nana bought for her. It was the color of pink velvet. Also, she had on skinny, shiny pink shoes and socks and with bows and lace on them. Lucille's Nana is loaded, I think. Lucille went to the front of the room. She reached into a little bag and pulled out a sparkling crown with jewels on it. Then all of room 9 said, "Ooh," except for not the boys. "When I grow up, I'm going to marry a prince," she said, "and I'll be a princess, and my name will be Princess Lucille." Then she put the sparkling crown on her head, and she looked like a fairy tale guy. Mrs. smiled. "That's a lovely thought, Lucille," she said. "I know," said Lucille. "My Nana says if you marry a prince, you're set for life." After that, Lucille said her dress costed $85, and her shoes costed $45, and her lacy socks costed $6.50 plus tax. Then Mrs. told Lucille to sit down. Ricardo went next. He was wearing a round yellow hat. It was the kind of hat that you bang on. "This is called a hard hat," he said. "You have to wear it when you're building tall buildings, or else somebody might drop a hammer from way up high, and it could hit you on the head and kill you." Mrs. smiled. "So you're interested in construction, right, Ricardo?" she asked, but Ricardo just kept on talking about other stuff that could fall on your head and kill you, like a paint can and an electric drill and a lunchbox. Then Mrs. said, "Sit down," to him too. That's when William raised his hand, only he was being very bashful, and he wouldn't go to the front of the room. "You don't have to be nervous, William," said Mrs. Just tell us what you want to be when you grow up." William covered his face with his hands. "Super William," he said, very quiet. Then he got out of his seat, and he jumped way high in the air, only his cape got tangled in his chair, and he crashed onto the table. After that, Super William got very sniffly, and Mrs. said we could get back to him later. Then lots of other kids talked about their jobs, like a boy named Clifton is going to be a rich and famous astronaut, and a girl named Lily is going to be a rich and famous movie star, and also she wants to direct. And a boy named Ham is going to be a rich and famous boss of a big company, and he taught us how to say the word "you're fired." And here's the bestest one of all, because a boy named Jamal Hall is going to be a rich and famous president of the whole United States. "Cool," said Ricardo. Then the other boys said cool too. I did a secret smile. "Yeah, only not as cool as my job," I thought to just myself. Then I raised my hand very polite, and Mrs. called me my name. "Oh boy," I shouted. "Oh boy, 'cause mine is even better than the President of the United States." I zoomed speedy quick to the front of the room. Then my excitement wouldn't stay inside of me anymore. "A janitor! I'm going to be a janitor!" I hollered out. After that, I jingled my jingly keys, and I waved a paintbrush in the air, and I clapped and I clapped and clapped. Only too bad for me, 'cause nobody clapped back. And here's even worser. Room 9 started laughing very much, and it was the mean kind. "She wants to be a janitor," they yelled. Then they pointed at my brown pants, and they called me the name of stupid, and I didn't know what to do, 'cause I felt very crumbling inside. And so I just kept on standing there, and my eyes got a little bit of wet in them, and my nose started running very much. That's how come I covered my face up. "They're not having courtesy for me," I said real soft. Only just then Mrs. clapped her angry hands together, and she scolded room 9 a real lot. "Junie B is right," she said. "Being a janitor is a very important job. You have to be hardworking and reliable and very, very trustworthy." I peeked through my fingers at her. "Yeah, and don't forget the part where you have to save people from danger," I said. Then that Jim I hate laughed right out loud. "Janitors don't save people from danger, you goony bird," he said. I stomped my foot at him. "Yes, they do too, because one time I was eating Dangerous Lifesaver, and janitor made me spit it out, and also he brought his flashlight to room 9, and he saved William from the dangerous dental floss." Then I held up my jingly keys. "And see these things? Keys are what janitors unlock the bathroom door with, or else we can't even go to the toilet." Then I showed him my paintbrush. "And janitor paints litter cans too," I said. "And painting is the funnest thing I love." That Jim did a mean smile. "Yeah, well, too bad for you, but you're a girl, and janitors have to be boys, so there's." I run to his table. "No, they do not, you stupid head Jim," I said. "Girls can be anything boys can be. Right, missus? Right? Because I saw that on Sesame Street and also on Opera." Mrs. did a smile. Then my bestest friend Grace started to clap. And guess what? All of the other girls in room 9 clapped too. Okay, that was Chapter 7. Now moving on to Chapter 8, which is the last chapter of this book. So let's do it. Chapter 8. Gus Valony. Today, janitor came to room 9 for show and tell, and it was the funnest day I ever saw. That's 'cause he brought his very big toolbox with him, and we played a game called Name the Tools. And guess what? I knew the saw, and the hammer, and the metric socket set with adjustable ratchet. Then janitor showed us how to use his stuff, and Charlotte got to shine his giant flashlight. And my bestest friend Grace got to push his big broom, and Lucky Duck Lucille got to clean the chalkboard with a squishy sponge. Except for then a little bit of trouble happened, 'cause I wanted the mop, only that stupid head Jim wouldn't let go of it, and so I had to pinch his arm. After that, the mop got removed from us. Removed is the school word for snatched right out of our hands. After that, janitor sat in a chair, and room 9 sat all around him. Then he told us all about himself and his job. And guess what? He's been janitor for 14 years. And he was born in a different country from ours. And his name is Gus Valony. "Hey, I love that name of Gus Valony," I hollered out, "because Valony is my favorite kind of sandwich." "Valony is my favorite kind of sandwich." Then I smiled very proud. "And guess what else?" I said to room 9. "Me and janitor are bestest friends, and sometimes he calls me the nickname of Sis." Then janitor winked at me, and so I winked back, except for both my eyes kept on shutting, and so I had to hold one of them open with my finger. "I really like that Gus Valony," I whispered to my bestest friend Lucille. Only then that dumb girl named Lily heard what I said, and she's singing, "Junie B. Jones got a boyfriend. Junie B. Jones got a Me and my big fat mouth, I said. Then Mrs. laughed, and Janitor laughed, and everybody else laughed too. After that, Janitor had to go back to work, and so Mrs. shook his hand. Then 9 clapped and clapped for him, and Janitor smiled, and his jingly keys jingled all the way down the door. So that was the end of Junie B. Jones and her big fat mouth. I'm going to be reading another Junie B. Jones. This will be my 4th one. So, hope you enjoyed it. Bye.